The Volkswagen Golf GTI has dominated the hot hatch space since, well, forever, but it's got a problem now, a big problem. It's blue, it cracks, it pops and it farts, and it's been developed by a bloke that spent the last 3 decades working on everything with an M badge. And while we could sit here all day talking about the grains of interior plastic and how well these cars ride around the city, we will get to that. What you and I want to find out now is whether the Hyundai i30N has the goods to tackle the Golf GTI down the quarter mile.
To keep things super fair, both of these cars have a manual transmission, and while the i30N has more power, well, much more power, 202 kilowatts versus 169 in the Golf, it weighs about 170 kilograms more, so it's going to be a close battle.
Okay, moment of truth. We're going to drag race the Golf GTI, and to make things fair, I'm going to do this 3 times. So whichever car is quicker, we want it to be quickest each and every time. We don't want it to be a one-trick pony. So we're going to start off by using launch control in the i30N. So to activate that, you press the flag button, which puts it into N mode, puts ESC Sport on and activates launch control. We're also able to adjust launch control using the cruise control. We're able to make it go higher or lower. So we're going to put foot on the clutch, we're going to put it into first, and then we're good to go. Okay, let's give this a crack. I've got cameraman Igor on the other end to do our countdown for us. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, this feels quick. Gear shifts are good as well. Oh, we are murdering the Golf. Holy crap! This is so fast. It's 160. Wow. Wow. I'm lost for words. Like, the Golf GTI is a quick hut. It's just it's hilarious. Let's go give that another crack. Okay, let's do this again. This time without launch control. It bet the GTI pretty convincingly there, but I reckon there's more in it, so I'm going to put this back into N mode. We're not going to use launch control this time, so I'm going to manually dial it up and make it happen. All right, Igor, we are ready for our countdown. 3, 2, 1, go! This is still incredibly quick. Oh, there it is again. Okay, that was even quicker then, so lucky last. I'm going to switch everything off now because I'm feeling it biting just a tiny bit in the second shift there. By switching it all off, I think we should be able to get a cleaner start. So back into N mode, I'm going to hold the stability control button until it says it's switched off. And there it is, traction and stability control disabled. All right, let's give this a crack. Cameraman Igor, let's get our countdown. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh man, this thing is absolutely moving. I cannot believe how quick it is. Far out. I'm seriously lost for words. This is $39,000 and it is hauling ass.
In terms of bang for buck, you cannot beat the i30N. It crosses the finish line at 160 kilometers an hour, and it was still keen to keep going. And that noise, it is incredible. But which one of these has the styling edge?
How good does this look, especially in the baby blue colour? You can tell the i30N apart from the rest of the i30 range with that badge right there, the beautiful cascading grille, these highlights around the bottom plus the red stripe. You've got flared wheel arches, 19-inch alloy wheels, 235 wide tyres all round with low profile rubber. Under the bonnet, 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine, 353 newton meters of torque, and that goes up to 378 newton meters with overboost, and it makes 202 kilowatts of power. And under the engine, the transmission and engine mounts have been strengthened to give this an edge, but check out the rear. This is where you're going to find all of the active aero. This spoiler here actually functions. It functions to push the back of the car down and direct the air exactly where it needs to go. You've got a very aggressive stance around the back with those big Cannon exhaust pipes and another N badge as well. Fun fact, stands for Namyang to Nürburgring. There is no compromise here either. 381 litres of cargo capacity. It expands to 1287 when you drop those rear seats. And have a look at this, an exposed strut brace. How cool does that look? While the i30N is going to set you back $39,990 plus on roads, the Golf GTI is cheaper, but it does miss out on a few things. Obviously, it's a 3-door, it's $37,490 it misses out on, satellite navigation, adaptive LED headlights, but you do get your red Golf GTI highlights, which look excellent. You've got this intake down the bottom, you've got 18-inch alloy wheels with 225 tyres all around, and it does get that aggressive look, but it's not quite as aggressive as the i30. You can tell the GTI apart with these dual cannons at the back, and this is Australia only, GTI original, so this is just for the Australian market. Like the i30, this is a no compromise space, 380 litres and a little over 1,200 when you drop the rear seats, so it is incredibly versatile. But what is the newcomer like to drive on the road? Let's find out. So let's start off by saying that this isn't a track review. We wanted to see specifically what these cars were like on the road, which is why we wanted to do a drag race, but also get out here into the country and simulate what you'd do on a weekend away. And immediately the i30N is showing some positive signs because inside the cabin here, it's effectively just an i30. And that's a good thing. So you get this fantastic 8-inch infotainment system that has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, DAB digital radio, and it is super easy to use. But still, one of the downsides to it is you hit the voice control button and nothing happens. You have to be connected over CarPlay or Android Auto for the voice control to work. The rest of your creature comforts are dual zone climate control, a fantastic steering wheel, sits beautifully in the hand, and there's some secret buttons here as well, but I'll tell you about those in a second. The thing that I'm not liking about this interior though, is how cheap some of this stuff feels. You know, I would have thought that for the i30N, it's the pinnacle sports model, it's their first proper crack at this, that they would really throw the book at this interior, but it does feel a little bit cheap. You can spend $3,000 more to get the luxury pack, so that gives you leather seats and a few other bits and bobs around the cabin. You can also option a moonroof too, but I would have thought even at this entry-level price, this would have a bit more kit. I'm going to put this into context for you. Heathcote, where we just did the drag race, it's about 2 hours away from Melbourne, and I took some back roads to get there, and I'm almost having to yell at you here because at highway speeds on these country roads, there is so much droning in this cabin, and that's where this is going to be a problem for the i30N because the Golf GTI is such a resolved hot hatch. They've already ironed all of those things out, so while this is quicker, the Golf is certainly feeling like more of a livable car day to day. Visibility out of the i30N is excellent. I've got great visibility out the front. That rear spoiler doesn't affect your visibility out the back either, which is great news. The steering is heavier than a standard i30, but it's not over the top. So in this standard normal mode, it feels okay. It's still easy to park. You get a great reversing camera, and it's very drivable at low speeds. When you're done tootling around on the countryside, you're going to want to investigate these buttons here. On the left, you've got drive mode. So you press that once to move into sport mode, or you can put it into eco mode. All entirely pointless because on the right, you have the checkered flag. One push of that enables N mode. When that's on, the noise starts yelling, and all you need to do is plant the throttle. Puts you back in the seat, it cracks and pops through the gears, and you even get a shift indicator above the tacho to tell you the optimum time to grab that next gear. On top of that, N mode also firms up that adaptive suspension. It puts a bit more weight into the steering, and it also rev matches, which means that all you need to do is go to the gear below, bounces back up, and you're ready to roll again. And then you find yourself a corner, and that's where the limited slip differential really comes into its own. It just holds on forever and never wants to let go. This is where you're going to notice the biggest difference compared to that Golf. It has so much mechanical grip through corners. The Golf doesn't have an LSD, which means that it just lacks a bit of bite when you get on the throttle out of corners. With this, it is absolutely next level stuff. You can literally just slam it down whenever you want and it just starts moving. And then it's only backed by continuous backfires from the exhaust. This is a Hyundai. All that power is pointless if you can't stop. which is why Hyundai has done a tremendous job here with the brakes. They are incredible. You just grab that brake pedal whenever you need to, and it bites down hard. And it almost feels like there's no fade. You can seriously attack this without stopping, and there's always that consistent brake pedal feel. Despite the fact the i30N has 2 more doors than the GTI original, there's not a great deal of knee room, but there is plenty of headroom and there's a center armrest with a couple of cup holders. But how does all that compare to the Golf? Well, this is a very different place to be seated. Sure, it's not top-end luxury, but it feels a grade above the i30. You get this awesome 8-inch infotainment screen that comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and that offsets the fact that it doesn't have satellite navigation standard. You now get that through your phone connectivity. You do miss out on virtual cockpit, but again, I do like the analog gauges. They just give it a bit more of a sports car feel. It's like a 911 still retaining a lot of those analog gauges. This is a really nice interior. Now, if you've got mates, they're going to hate you if you ask them to get into the second row of this car. Because it's got 3 doors, there's not a stack of room back there. There's really no knee room at all for adults, so it's definitely only built for short trips. Despite the fact it's down about 30 kilowatts, the Golf still has plenty of pep. Remember, this is a lighter car, so in gear, you just lean on the throttle and it absolutely hammers. This feels kind of more reassuring as well. It's not bouncing you around as much. It has fixed rate dampers, so you don't get the adaptive setup, but they do a great job on roads like this that are sweeping. The fact it doesn't have an LSD is a bit of a problem. You find that inside wheel spins a little bit at times, but this is a very, very versatile package and it feels excellent right here behind the wheel. So how does this comparison end? Well, it's not as simple as you may think. I thought the i30N would walk all over the GTI. On paper, it has all the goods. BMW M Performance Boss tuned it, Nürburgring, I mean, it's got more power. It's got everything that a hot hatch needs, but it doesn't have years of experience, and that's what it's missing, and that's what the Golf GTI has. This is a car you hop into, you feel familiar with, everything drives really well, and despite the fact it has less power and doesn't have that limited slip differential, it is still a fantastic car to drive, and this is the choice you need to make if you want an everyday car. But if you're anything like me and you want a car that pops, crackles, and is the exact opposite of understated, it has to be the i30N.